Good morning, Year 3. Miss Joinson here, and today we're going to be reading Chapter 4 of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. The Secret Workers. The next evening, Grandpa Joe went on with his story. You see, Charlie, he said, not so very long ago there used to be thousands of people working in Mr. Willy Wonka's factory. Then, one day, all of a sudden, Mr. Wonka had to ask every single one of them to leave, to go home, never to come back. But why? Asked Charlie. Because of spies. Spies? Yes, all the other chocolate makers, you see, had begun to grow jealous of the wonderful sweets that Mr. Wonka was making, and they started sending in spies to steal his secret recipes. The spies took jobs in the Wonka factory, pretending that they were ordinary workers, and while they were there, each one of them found out exactly how a certain special thing was made. And did they go back to their own factories and tell? Asked Charlie. They must have, answered Grandpa Joe, because soon after that, Ficklegrubber's factory started making an ice cream that would never melt, even in the hottest sun. Then Mr. Prodnose's factory came out with a chewing gum that never lost its flavour, however much you chewed it. And then Mr. Slugworth's factory began making sugar balloons that you could blow up to the huge sizes before you popped them with a pin and gobbled them up. And so on and so on. And Mr. Willy Wonka tore his beard and shouted, "This is terrible! I shall be ruined! There are spies everywhere! I shall have to close the factory!" "But he didn't do that," Charlie said. "Oh, yes, he did. He told all the workers that he was sorry, but they would have to go home. Then he shut the main gates and fastened them with a chain, and suddenly Wonka's giant chocolate factory became silent and deserted. The chimneys stopped smoking, the machines stopped whirring, and from then on not a single chocolate or sweet was made. Not a soul went in or out, and even Mr. Willy Wonka himself disappeared completely. Months and months went by, Joe went on, but still the factory remained closed, and everybody said, "Poor Mr. Wonka, he's so nice, and he made such marvellous things, but he's finished now, it's all over." Then something astonishing happened. One day, early in the morning, thin columns of white smoke were seen to be coming out of the tops of the tall chimneys of the factory. People in the town stopped and stared. "What's going on?" they cried. "Someone's lit the furnaces. Mr. Wonka must be opening up again." They ran to the gates, expecting to see them wide open, and Mr. Wonka standing there to welcome his workers back. But no, the great iron gates were still locked and chained as securely as ever, and Mr. Wonka was nowhere to be seen. "But the factory is working," the people shouted. "Listen, you can hear the machines. They're all whirring again, and you can smell the smell of melting chocolate in the air." Grandpa Joe leaned forward and laid a long bony finger on Charlie's knee, and he said softly, "But most mysterious of all, Charlie, were the shadows in the windows of the factory." The people standing on the street outside could see small dark shadows moving about behind the frosted glass windows. "Shadows of whom?" said Charlie quickly. That's exactly what everybody else wanted to know. "The place is full of workers," the people shouted, "but nobody's gone in. The gates are locked. It's crazy. Nobody ever comes out either." But there was no question at all, said Grandpa Joe, that the factory was running, and it's gone on running ever since for these last 10 years. What's more, the chocolates and sweets it's been turning out have become more fantastic and delicious all the time. And of course now when Mr. Wonka invents some new and wonderful sweet, neither Mr. Ficklegrubber, nor Mr. Prodnose, nor Mr. Slugworth, nor anybody else is able to copy it. No spies can go into the factory to find out how it is made. "But Grandpa, who," cried Charlie, "who is Mr. Wonka using to do all the work in the factory?" "Nobody knows, Charlie." "But that's absurd. Hasn't someone asked Mr. Wonka?" "Nobody sees him any more. He never comes out. The only things that come out of that place are chocolates and sweets. They come out through a special trapdoor in the wall, all packed and addressed, and they are picked up every day by post office trucks. But Grandpa, what sort of people are they that work in there? My dear boy, said Grandpa Joe, that is one of the great mysteries of the chocolate-making world. We know only one thing about them. They are very small. The faint shadows that sometimes appear behind windows, especially late at night when the lights are on, are those of tiny people, people no taller than my knee. There aren't any such people, Charlie said. Just then, Mr. Bucket, Charlie's father, came into the room. He was home from the toothpaste factory, and he was waving an evening newspaper rather excitedly. Have you heard the news? He cried. He held up the paper so they could see the huge headline. The headline said, Wonka Factory to be opened at last to lucky few. Okay then, so very interesting ending to that chapter, and that's the ending that you're going to do your work on today. Okay, so today you're going to be creating a newspaper report with the headline Wonka Factory to be opened at last to lucky few. Okay, so we'll go through our steps to success in a moment. So as you can see, we have got our newspaper reports banner up here, and some key vocabulary that you will use, or that you will use in your newspaper report. And then we've got a template of a newspaper report that has got this headline on. Okay, so you can see the big headline in capital letters. You can see here you've got a picture, and a picture perhaps of Mr. Willy Wonka, do we think? The mysterious man. And then here you've got the actual story, okay? So we can't see the actual story, and that's okay because you're going to be writing your own today. Okay, so when we write a newspaper report, we need to make sure that we start off with our introductory paragraph. And our introductory paragraph is going to be our 5 W's. Okay, so who, what, when, where, and why. Okay, so who are we talking about in our introductory paragraph? Well, we are talking about Mr. Willy Wonka, okay, because he is opening up his chocolate factory, okay. What is the headline? What is the story about? So it is the opening of the chocolate factory. Okay. When is this happening? Now, we don't know when. Okay, so this is for you to make up your minds about when it is going to open, okay? So I'm going to pick a date. I'm going to just have a quick look at the calendar. Or I'm going to say, well, the newspaper will go out tomorrow on the 10th. So I'm going to say that the Wonka factory is going to open on the 26th of June. So that's up to you. You don't have to do that. Okay, that's when it's going to take place, okay? Where is this happening? Well, we know that where is in the chocolate factory. Okay. And why is it opening up? Do we know why it's opening up? All we've been given is the headline, Wonka Factory to be opened at last to lucky few. So I'm going to say, nobody knows. Very mysterious. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I have got my 5 W's. So these are the parts that I'm going to talk about in my opening paragraph. Okay, so I'm going to go into more details about the who, what, when, where, and why. Okay then, so here you have got a word mat with lots of different prompts on that I will also put on the website, okay, and send to you in an email that you can use. So you've got some starters, some openers to start off your sentences here. You've got your 5 W's there that we've just talked about, okay. We've got some vocabulary, so incident, for example, investigated, claimed, okay, and then you've got your conjunctions here as well. Okay, so our steps to success then. I can write a headline. Well, our headline is already written for us, okay, so don't need to worry about that one today. I can include an introductory paragraph which includes the 5 W's. So that's what we've just spoken about, so we can hopefully highlight that off in a moment. I can include a picture with a caption, so you will create a picture with a caption. I can include facts about the main events. I can write in third person and past tense, and I can include quotes using inverted commas. Okay, so you have all used inverted commas before, so please remember that when you do use inverted commas, so I'm going to very quickly create a quote for you to include if you want to include this. So your opening inverted commas go around what is being said. Okay, so I'm going to say, I cannot believe the chocolate factory is going to open at last. I really hope I am one of the lucky few that get to go. Okay, so that's what the person is speaking, and then so your inverted commas go around exactly what's being said. Okay, and then I'm going to say who said it. I'm going to use my speech verb, so I'm going to put stated, Mr. Smith. Okay, so you could use that if you want to, or you can use that and magpie the idea. So don't forget your quotation marks need to go, so your inverted commas need to go around what is being said. So stated Mr. Smith, that's how he said that, and that doesn't go around in the inverted commas. Okay, so let's start off by doing the introductory paragraph. So I have written a waggle and I'm going to write it. So I'm going to just very quickly make that in the middle, and I'm going to make this really big because this is going to be the name of my newspaper, and the name of my newspaper is going to be the Daily Star. Okay, nice and simple, and that's going to go at the top. Okay, and then underneath that we're going to write the date, make our text a bit smaller. I'm going to write the date, so today's date is the 9th, so this newspaper is going to go out tomorrow, so it's going to be the 10th, so 10th of June 2020, and then I'm going to say that it is reported by let's think of a name, any name, reported by Sarah Jones. Okay, obviously that will be your name. So you've got your name of the newspaper, you have got your date underneath, and then you have got who it is reported by. Okay, then you're going to have your main headline. So the headline has already been given to you. So your headline is Wonka Factory to be oops, just going to move that across a bit, to be opened at last to lucky for you. Okay, put that in the middle. There we go. Okay, so we have got everything so far. Okay, so this would be your name of the newspaper, so I'm just going to write it up here for you so you know that you have completed that part of the steps to success. So you have got the name of newspaper, got that there. You have got the date here. You have got the name of reporter. And then finally, at the very top, you have also got your headline. Okay, so you have already got 4 features of the newspaper report straight away, and you haven't even done any writing yet. Okay, so let's do our introductory paragraph then. So we're going to go on to a new page. So we've got lots of space. Okay, so the mysterious desolate. So desolate means that nobody's been in there for quite a while. The mysterious desolate chocolate factory that is owned by Mr. Willy Wonka is to be opened at last, but only to a lucky few. This news comes as a huge shock to all citizens of the world. Mr. Wonka has been the owner of the colossal chocolate factory for over 20 years, but not once has he opened the doors to his, and I'm going to carry on up here. Remember, because when we're writing a newspaper, oh, actually I've got some space down there, to his magnificent building. But not once has he opened the doors to his magnificent building to the public. There we go. Okay, because your newspaper report will have a box down here because we're writing in columns, don't we? Okay then. So going to carry on. I'm just going to finish that last bit off now. Just make that bigger there. There we go. Okay. Only 5 lucky children will get the chance of a lifetime to visit the extravagant, mesmerizing chocolate factory. Okay, only 5 lucky children will get the chance of a lifetime to visit the extravagant, mesmerizing chocolate factory. There we go. Okay then, so let's have a look. Let's have a read through this then. The mysterious, desolate chocolate factory that is owned by Mr. Willy Wonka is to be opened at last, but only to a lucky few. This news comes as a huge shock to all citizens of the world. Mr. Wonka has been the owner of the colossal chocolate factory for over 20 years, but not once has he opened the doors to his magnificent building to the public. Only 5 lucky children will get the chance of a lifetime to visit the extravagant, mesmerizing chocolate factory. There we go then. Okay, so you've then got to include facts about the main event, so include some quotations as well, using what we've just used, and inverted commas. And you need to be able to write in third person and in the past tense as well. Okay, so we can already highlight off that you've written a headline, and if you want to, you can magpie that introductory paragraph, which includes the 5 W's. Okay. Please email myself or Mr. Crocott if you need any help or support with today's work, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. I'm really looking forward to reading your newspaper reports because you work so hard on these. So please take your time and use all of those Year 3 standards that you know. Have a super day. Speak to you all soon. Bye.